Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the stream. Today we are going over our decades family updates, and I know that on my YouTube channel I did do a brief video going over the family tree, but I just wanted to go into a little bit more depth about everybody. Hi, Gamer at That Game, how are you? So I did just want to go into a little bit more in depth on the family and the updates for each of the families and what we've kind of been doing in them. So we know that the game has neighborhood stories on, and so they kind of get to lead their own lives, and so they've been playing on their own. So because of that, hi Tracy, the stories, the game has been allowing them to lead their own lives, and so our families have been developing their own lives like outside of us. So it's Omar, by the way. Sorry for being so behind. I'm kind of busy, especially with school. Nope, that's fine. And hi Omar, welcome to the stream. So I did just want to go ahead and go into each of our families and just kind of give you guys a little bit of an update with everybody, because I was kind of shocked at some of the changes that had been taking place, and so I figured you guys would be as well. So that's what we're doing in today's stream, is just we're going to go through each of our families and kind of get a little glimpse into their lives, since we only play with the one family, but I didn't want us to lose touch of our other families. So that's what we're doing today. So I figured it would be a nice little change, and to be completely honest, I wasn't really mentally in a good place for puzzles. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do Siberia today. Let's play decades. So that's what we're doing. So as you're going to see, first here we have our Ashita family. Judd has moved out on his own, so now it is just the girls. They have adopted themselves some dogs. We are actually going to jump in, and I'm going to go to their houses as well, but let's just do a brief rundown first here. So we have them. We also have our McQueen family, and as you can see, we have us two new little ones, and Finnegan has moved out on his own as well. So that family has changed quite a bit because they've had more babies. And then we have our O'Hara, so Cora and Emery and Franklin moved out into their own. And soon we will be having Clarence and Samuel move out. Was the mini update episode 57 of Decades. Also, I was thinking for each series, you put an individual playlist for each series, but I feel like we should have a playlist for the whole series. Same goes for the other. Slay. The mini update episode 57 of Decades. Yes, it was. For each series. Everyone is having babies. Everyone. Yeah. Everyone's having babies. And I don't know why that is, but everyone is having babies. So, the two boys, though, they are probably going to be moving out soon as well. And the teen girls, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I was going to let them stay at home with Cora, unless they find themselves a man, and then they would obviously get married and maybe move out. But I did think the boys would probably want to go ahead and get their own place and probably find themselves girls and whatever. But I don't know. I just kind of felt like the girls would probably stay at home with their mom. But Cora is about to age up into an elder, guys. So she's like right on the cusp of becoming an elder. So that is probably going to happen in, I would think, the next episode that I record. That's probably going to happen. I think Nettie and Noelle could go to university. We could do that. I'll go ahead and sign them up for that. And then we have our family. Now, this is Veronica Gossett, but she married Adrian. Now, they were dating in the series. She got a boyfriend, and then she got pregnant, like immediately, like on her own. So I did go ahead and marry them because they were just dating, but she was pregnant. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to marry them. So I did marry them so that they fit with like the timeline of the 20s or whatever. So they're married and they have their own place. So we'll go and take a look at that. And she is very, very pregnant, as you can see. And then we have her parents. Well, Veronica is Annabelle's daughter. So Annabelle obviously remarried Devontae, and then this is their daughter. So they all live together. And here's Finnegan. He's on his own. This is Judd. He's on his own. Emery and Franklin are on their own. And then we have Helen. Now, Helen decided to move out on her own, which shocked me the most. So she moved out on her own and changed her last name to Patton. And she did that all on her own. So she moved out on her own, changed her name to Patton, adopted a bunch of dogs, met a man, and got herself pregnant. I don't know, like, it was almost like she wanted to start her life over without the whispers of Veronica as in Annabelle's daughter. Yes, she is now married and pregnant. That is correct. So Helen was like, I don't want to be known as the O'Hara girl that everyone talks about and whispers about as, you know, this person that is paranoid and erratic. And so she moved out of her sister's home. She changed her name, and she adopted a couple of dogs, and she met a man, and they started dating, and now she has a baby. So they are together. They are in a relationship. They are not married. I am working on getting them married. So just know she is not married right now. She has had a baby out of wedlock. And I'm trying to get them married. But they're not married yet. So I have no idea where she came up with the name Patton. I just know that she has changed her name to Patton. It is not the man's name that she is in a relationship with. And we will go through and I'll show you who he is while we're going through all this stuff. But he is a completely different person with not the name Patton. But that is some tea on Helen. Okay. And then we have the Hensleys. Omar's like, wait. I'll wait for a minute. The Hensley name comes from Rose's first husband, the one who died in the First World War. She kept his last name. Even when she remarried, she didn't take her new husband's name. She kept his name. So when she remarried Glenn, I believe this guy's name is, Glenn didn't make her take his name. He actually took the Hensley name. I'm gonna check Veronica's age. She's young. So when Glenn and her married, Glenn was like, I know that you still are very much in love with your deceased husband. And I know you love me as well, but I'm not going to have you change your name. And so he took the Hensley name. So they have had these 3 children together. And so they are all the Hensleys. And they are very, very much in love. They keep having kids, like lots and lots of kids. So that is all of our family members. So first and foremost, who would you guys like to go and see? And we will go into their homes. Veronica's not 10 years old. She's a teenager. Let's go into Veronica first. I have to find her. Maybe it's not Veronica that I'm thinking of. Yeah, it is Veronica. Veronica's not 10. Veronica's a teenager. She aged up to a teenager and got herself a boyfriend, and then she aged herself up. She became a teenager, and then she got herself a boyfriend. And then, yeah. She's a teen mom, unfortunately. So they live here in this little house. Like, she became a teenager, and then the game got her pregnant immediately. She started dating this guy, and MC Command Center got her pregnant. And they started, like, they were boyfriend, girlfriend, and then she got pregnant, and so I had to marry them off. She was born in 1916. She was the firstborn. Let me pull up the family tree. Let me do that. She was born in 1916. Well, the problem with The Sims is that they don't care about my family tree. So, they have, like, she's already aged up, and I can't, like, help the fact that she's already aged up in the game and she's not aged up on the tree. So, I can't keep her a child for forever in the game. I could if I turned aging off. So you guys are going to have to make a decision. Do you want me to turn aging off on this save? Because originally I had the aging off and you guys asked me to turn it back on because you wanted them to age up on their own, because I was aging them up myself, and you guys were like, no, turn it on so that they can age up, but you guys wanted me to turn it on. So you're going to have to make a decision. If you want me to make it real, then you're going to have to let me control it, because otherwise we're just going to have to skip the fact that it doesn't seem realistic. So, because before I was tracking everything and I was aging them up when it was time for them to actually age up. Like, I was tracking everything on a calendar, and I was aging everybody up when they were, like, we could either erase this all or have a time skip. So maybe it's a 6-year time skip. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing I can really do about this at this present moment, because it is what it is. So this will have to be, should we age her back down? I mean, I can age her back down if that's what you guys all want me to do, and but if I age her back down, I'm going to have to age everybody back down. So why don't we just go ahead and leave it like it is, and I may have to do just a 6-year time skip and make everybody jump forward 6 years. I don't know if that's the best thing to do either, though, because then that's going to put us in the 30s. Let's do a vote. What do you think? But I think I'm going to turn aging back off, because the aging with the family tree is probably the easiest way to go for us to try to keep realism, because otherwise they're going to keep marrying and doing, like, I can't keep them from doing things on their own. Because I have MCC and because of neighborhood stories, they're going to have their own lives. So if you guys don't want that happening, then I'm going to have to turn aging off so that I can age them up on their own. Because otherwise, as soon as they age up, like, she met this boy and they got pregnant. So we have a baby on the way. You have an idea. What's your idea? So we can either do a time skip to make her go forward, or like, we can do a time skip and let this relationship continue on, or we can like, currently right now I'm in 1926, and so we can just ignore this and just let it continue on. Or if the sim is pregnant, it would not make sense to age them down. I think that if I age her down, I'm going to have to age down all of the teens that just aged up, because they all aged up all at the same time. There was like 4 teens that aged up all at the same time. So if that's the case, they're all going to have, like, all of the teens that I just aged up and gave their makeovers and moved out, they would all have to be aged back down and moved back in with their parents. So all of the updates that I just did would have to go in reverse. So everything that that I just did would have to be changed. So, I mean, if that's what you guys want me to do, I can do that. But it just is a lot of work to move everybody back in with the parents. But I can do that if that's what you guys want me to do. So just let me know, I guess, what you guys want me to do. Because Finnegan will have to move back home. Judd will have to move back home. Emery and Franklin will both have to move back home. Nettie and Noelle, all of them will have to be aged back down to children. I'll have to re-give them children makeovers. Right? Because they won't go back to looking like they looked before. So I have to give everybody their child makeovers all over again. Or we can just leave it like it is and do a time skip, and that'll put us into what? 1930, whatever. Yeah. Or I can just skip us and I'll bring everybody current to the 1930s. So I'll turn off the aging. I'll bring everybody current to that 1930 whatever year. What year do you guys want me to bring us to? I think that's going to be easiest for me. I'll bring everybody forward instead of taking everybody back. Tell me a year. Yeah, if I age them down, I have to delete everything. The pregnancy, yeah. I think it's going to be better to go forward than back. So what year do you want me to take us to? You said 6 years, so if we're in 26 now, so 1932. Right now I'm 1926. Okay, Omar. Okay, 1932. So I'll do a 1932 update video, and I'll show you guys what everybody's update looks like. And then we'll do a 1932 like regular video. Does that sound good? Next video, we wrap up the 20s and age Cora, and then the video after we do a preview from 1926 to 1932 and everything that's happened just like we did in the past. Yep, I can do that. So that being said, we'll still go ahead and I'm still going to give you the current updates as of now because they are still going to be the same. The only difference is I'm going to have to move out a couple more people. So, we'll go ahead and go through that as well. So these two obviously are together. They're married. They're having a baby. Me moving them forward, they'll probably have the baby. But so we have this couple. He is a medical intern. So he is in the medical field. She is in school, but we will move her forward. So she will not be in school. I'm gonna have to age her up a little bit, so she'll be I say for now we pretend it's 1932 and planned what has happened from 1926 to 1932. Well, exactly, she's gonna be a young adult, so we have to decide what we think she is going to do with her time. I'm gonna get a notebook and write some notes down. I normally don't, I normally have a mod in my game that decides their life for them, but it is currently broken because of the werewolf patch, so it isn't in here. So you guys can help me to decide what we want them to do for their jobs. So what do you think that Veronica would like to do with her time? Because as we know, now that we are in the 1920s, well, and even the 1930s, women can work. They don't have to be stay-at-home moms, or, you know, they don't have to stay at home anymore. They can go ahead and be in the workforce in the 1920s and in the 1930s. Actually, let me just go ahead and pull up the 30s rules here really quickly. So for the 1930s, it says we are actually going to be going into the Great Depression. Okay, so never mind. Everybody will be losing their jobs. And everyone that is in school will be out of school. What else does it say? All right, so we're going to really be going through it in the 30s. So we'll be going through the Depression. So it's irrelevant. We don't need to know anything because they're going to be suffering. It just says rules from the 20s will stand, will follow. Anyone that is a young adult in this era has to take a negative trait. They must lose their job. They can't go to school. They must scavenge, fish, and garden. And the film era has ended. Part-time work. So after the first week, they can get their job back. So we'll decide that after they go through a week of the Depression. Okay. Good to know. So we will be suffering for a little bit of time here in the beginning of this era that we're about to head into due to the Great Depression. So that's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and move on to our next couple or our next family members. So Great Depression. Let me write it down. All right, so the next couple that we have is the Hensleys. When the 40s get there, would all the men have to be in the military? I believe so. I don't usually jump ahead and look at the rules until it's like time for me to actually be into that decade. Once I go to that decade, then I would obviously look at the rules, and then I'll let them in the videos. Like when I record the video, then I usually do like a recap of the rules for that decade in the video and let you guys know what we're allowed to do in that era. So I don't usually like jump forward. So I wouldn't even be looking at the 30s, except for the fact that we've decided we're going to skip the last 4 years of the 20s so that we can make it a little more realistic to what's kind of just happened here. So that's why I now know that we're going to be going through the Depression here in our rules. So this is Rose and her little ones, and thankfully she's not currently pregnant, but that's just because she literally just had Peyton. Like literally just had Peyton. Helen's disability is tamed or cured, and she wants a new personality, nothing to do with her bipolar past. She discovers what she's really made of and finds a husband and gets pregnant. That's basically what happened already, Omar. Yes. In the 1930s, a young teenage girl back then, I've been made to stay at home, and they was pregnant to hide away from Cher. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Tracy, yeah. So I'm kind of hoping that Rose is done having babies. I'm not gonna lie. She's had 3. She has had Darwin. She has had little Dana, which little Dana is precious. And now she's had little Peyton. So, I mean, we love it, Rose, but like, Helen is, yeah, something else. Omar, Helen is something else. I didn't think Helen was going to have any kids, and then she surprised me. So Rose, and she is a entertainer. She, as we know, loves her violin, and she loves to perform musically. Unfortunately, now that we have gone into the 30s with her, she is going to have to quit her job due to the Great Depression, because she's not going to be able to do that anymore. So she is going to have to pick up a new hobby. Thankfully, all of our children grew up on a farm, so they are going to know how to fish, and they are going to know how to garden. They're going to know how to be able to survive because they grew up on the O'Hara farm. So they are going to know how to take care of themselves. So I think they are going to be able to survive. I mean, she lives in a desert. We all live in a desert. The ground, may not be the best, but we know it will yield a crop because it did for Cora and Frederick. So, all right, we do have this family here, and again, I will make everybody look like they're supposed to look and get them to the age they're supposed to be based on the year that it is. So I will go through the whole family and get everybody to where they need to be based on the year 1932. I promise. Everybody will be where they need to be for our next video. Our next family is, let's just go ahead and take a look here with Cora. I mean, she is our little, queen who had 12 babies and started this whole thing off. So it's just fitting for us to go and see her. She obviously is going to be an elder now, and so that is going to be really, really sad. She does have Oasis Springs matches the Great Plains during the Depression and Dust Bowl. Yeah, absolutely. She does have wrinkles now. So this is our lovely Clarence and his brother Samuel. And then we also have Noelle and Nettie here. And Miss Cora, our queen. I did give her, well, some wrinkles. They're very slight, okay? I'm having trouble aging Cora, okay? Because she's beautiful. But I will turn her into an elder. I will. I'll even give her gray hair. She is actually, they are living in the boarding school now because, as you know, when she moved out of the O'Hara home so that Liam and his family could start living there, we moved them into the boarding school. So they're living here. Although, now that she's getting down smaller and smaller, this house is almost a little bit too much for them. So we are probably going to go ahead and I'm going to move them into another smaller home, just because with Clarence and Samuel moving out, and even Nettie and Noelle, they will be moving out shortly as well. Cora does not want to be at the boarding school by herself because it is just way too big for her to manage by herself, especially in her elder years. So we're going to be moving Cora out of the boarding house and into one of the smaller homes that we have built in the area. So she is going to be moving out of this massive home slash school. So she's going to be moving as well. She can't afford this in the Great Depression anyway. Everybody has to lose part of their money during this Great Depression as well, so it's tough times, people. It's tough times. In my mind, Strangerville is Arizona, Oasis Springs is Tennessee, and Willow Creek is Louisiana. I don't know that I would agree with that. Oasis Springs is more like okay. Go eat, Omar. Go eat. That's fine. None of these places remind me of Tennessee. I would know. I'm from there. Our next place to go is to see... Let's go see the McQueens. The panhandle of Oklahoma became Oasis Springs. Okay, let's go see Merida. Yeah. Maybe, but Tennessee is more like green and hilly, and Oasis Springs is too deserty. Oh my god, I forgot to tell you guys. So, Merida's pregnant. Yes, Merida's pregnant again. Surprise. So, Merida has, obviously Veronica. She has Daisy as her next oldest. We have Johnny, who's here. And we have little Alan, who's here. And she is pregnant again. That's right. Pregnant again. So we're having another one because she, for whatever reason, just keeps popping out kids. I can't get her to stop. Like, between her and Rose... They're pulling a Cora on me. I don't know what the deal is with this family, but they are extremely fertile. So, there's that. unfortunately, back in this time frame, they wouldn't have been able to get fixed. So I just have to keep letting them have kids until they can't have kids anymore, and just deal with the fact that we have a million zillion children. But they are having another child. So as you can see, Manuel is off to work, and she's just here holding down the fort with the little ones. And obviously she's getting some help from nice little Daisy, who is just like, I can't believe she keeps having more children. They don't even have room for all these kids. Like, they just don't have room. Like, they don't even have beds for these toddlers. But that's fine. We will have to get them into a bigger house now that she keeps having all these kids. I'll have to get her into a house that's more suited to them. Spay and neuter the Sims. Unfortunately, in the 30s, I don't believe that was an option. So I just can't do that. But we will go ahead and go check out the next family. I don't believe they're having any more babies, so thank God for small miracles. So the next one is the Snyder family. Yeah, but they, if you think about it, they're in the South, right? So I don't know. I think that probably would have been highly frowned upon, especially down there. They're in like the Bible Belt area. Oh, okay, you're twerking? Really? To classical music, no less. That's awesome. Okay, let's pause that. I'm pretty sure that back then they didn't twerk either, but we're going to overlook that. All right, so we have Devontae and we have Annabelle, who is tense about this music. Well, you turned it on. And we have little Catelyn, who is just playing a little bit of chess here. Now, Catelyn is actually adopted. So Devontae and Annabelle couldn't actually have a child of their own, but they wanted a child really, really bad. So they actually adopted her, and she is their adopted daughter. The oldest Veronica that we met in the very beginning was actually the daughter of Annabelle and her first husband, who she lost in the war. So she was actually someone else's, right? She was the daughter of her first husband. And these two had her, like, they adopted her. So she doesn't actually have a child with her current husband because they couldn't actually conceive together. For whatever reason, they were just unable to conceive. And here it looks like he has come home. Yes, he has. So they just weren't able to conceive together, but they did want a child really, really bad. So they discussed it and decided to adopt. Annabelle done got possessed by Annabelle, I know, right? Oh my goodness. So anyhow, and she's really, really upset about the music. Well, turn it off. Here, let me help you. There. See? Problem solved. Look, go play chess with your daughter. It'll be fine. Calm yourself down. There's no sense in all that. Look, her daughter walked away like, yeah, I'm good. I don't even want to play with you. Okay, so there's that family. We'll get them all fixed up. Everything will be lovely. And then we will go ahead and check on Helen O'Hara Patton. I have no idea where she pulled that name out of her hat, but you know, she was always a quirky one, that Helen. So, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Out of all of the children, she was the one that worried me the worst. Whenever I figured out that she had changed her name, moved out on her own, met a boy, and decided to get shacked up and knocked up. So, there you have it. All these Sims having their babies out of wedlock. All right, Miss Helen, we are here. So this is Helen O'Hara, who has changed her name to Patton. She recently had herself Roland, who is somewhere. Where? Oh, you're not even home. Okay, let's go home. Let's go home so we can see your child. Goodness gracious. Congratulations on the new addition to your family. Yeah, thanks so much. I know. Now we have to go through a loading screen again because you weren't home where you were supposed to be. Okay, 10 build mode items have been removed. Well, that's fantastic news. Okay, so we have arrived home. These are our animals. She has decided to adopt all these dogs. So we have Cooper, Precious, and Maggie. So she adopted a whole bunch of dogs, met her man, and has recently had little Roland here. If I can get the camera to work with me, that'd be really fantastic. No? Okay. Why? Okay, there's no baby. Where's the baby? Why is there no baby in this crib? Should I be concerned with the fact that our baby's missing? I mean, where's the child? I'm okay. I'm wondering where the baby's gone to. Are you okay? Where's the child? I don't understand. We've lost the baby. How are you, Steeler? Oh my goodness. This baby has disappeared. Okay, we actually do have a child. I just don't know where it is. So that is extremely worrisome. Okay, let's come talk. Tired and hurt, but I'm fine. You look upset, so I was asking. I'm upset just because I have an invisible baby, and I don't know why. So I think my game has disappeared and eaten my child. I'm fine. I'm just trying to figure out why the baby is missing. Oh, there it is. Oh, thank God. Jesus. It just decided to appear like magic. Holy hell. Okay. That's great news. All right. It's here, everyone. No need to be alarmed. Oh, good. Whew. Okay, this is Roland. This is Roland, and this is her child that she decided to have with Gianni. And why are you hurt, Steeler? Did something hurt you? Gianni McFadden is the person that she had this child with. Just so that you guys know who the person is that she had this baby with. Now, the funny thing about this is that she perceives this gentleman as unattractive, but they are lovers. And this person is her anti-crush, and he finds her weird. But yet they still were together and had a child together. So, only in The Sims, okay? Only in The Sims does this kind of nonsense happen? But happened nonetheless. It happened. Okay? And because of this, we now have Roland. So now you can see why I'm having trouble getting them to actually be together, because I was putting push bedroll in the mattress. Oh no. That's not good. That's not good at all. I'm sorry. Okay, Tracy, I realize opposites attract, but that's a little much. Like, she finds him unattractive. He's her anti-crush, and he finds her weird because she's erratic, right? So, like, she changed her name so that she wouldn't be known as the weird girl, and he finds her the weird girl. So, but yet they have a baby together, and I'm trying to get them in a relationship where they can, like, actually get to a place where maybe they might be able to get married. But do you know how hard it is for me to do that when, like, they both can't stand each other really, and she finds him ugly? So it's like, it's been so much fun. I mean, they do have a bit of romance and friendship. Like, I've really been working at it, but those first impressions are strong. Like, they're hard to get around. They really are. Now, also, she is a teacher, and she's at her level 3 of her education career, so it really does kind of suck that she has to quit that, considering we are going into the Great Depression. But, you know, the kids can't go to school anyway, so I guess we don't need teachers. But yeah, it really, really does suck, because some of them, if you have cottage living, they can't keep livestock for long since it was difficult to keep buying feed and the amount of grazing land was limited. Yeah, I do have cottage living, but they don't have any animals. The only family I had that had any animals was my main family. They had chickens, but when my current heir took over, he is an engineer, and he just kind of wasn't about that life. So they have a garden, but they hired a gardener to take care of it. And he had some chickens, but they were like, oh, we don't really want to deal with that. So they sold the chickens for meat. So we don't actually deal with any of that. So now that it is the Great Depression, we probably will need to get chickens, because we will need eggs and things like that. And they're going to have to go fire their gardener and actually tend to the land themselves, now that they're not going to be able to work. So some things are going to have to change, obviously. But yeah, I don't have actually any families with animals currently, because the only family that I actively play is the main family, which is why we're doing this update stream, because I wanted you guys to actually see the other families and kind of what they have going on in their lives, because they do play outside of, like, they live their lives outside of what I do with the main family. So this is Willow Creek, which is known as New Orleans in our game. Obviously, we know that. And we also have a family, our O'Hara boys, the twins, Emery and Franklin, recently moved into the duplexes that I built. And so we're going to go see them. So we will go and take a peek at them. So this is Franklin, and let me just get Emery home. Alright, so this is Franklin and Emery, and they live here in the duplexes that I built. So they are twins, obviously. They wanted to move out on their own, but they didn't want to, obviously, kind of separate just quite yet. So they were like, you know what's perfect? The duplexes out in New Orleans. So that's what they did, was they came here and they moved into these duplexes so that they're separate and they can kind of lead their own lives, but they're still together. So they live here in the duplexes. They are still teenagers, so they are both in school. which we know will have to end. But also in 1932, they would probably be out of school by then. I'll just have to do the math and see how that works out. But we'll get them aged up and whatever needs to be done to get them to the area that they need to be for that time frame. Welcome back to the stream. You did miss Helen. We did go through her. She had, we showed her baby off and her love interest while you were gone, but you can go back and watch through that. But just know that she is driving us crazy because, as I had just finished previously saying, that she doesn't actually get on with the person that she had her baby with. They actually don't like one another, and I'm having a really, really hard time getting them to be in a relationship together. But I am trying, and I will continue to try, but anyhow. We are now with Emery and Franklin. I'm just showing that they are in this duplex here. They are currently in high school, but based on the fact that we are going to 1932, I will get them up to speed on where they need to be during that time frame as well. Also, I'm not sure if you were here when I showed Merida, the McQueen family, but Merida is expecting again and should be having a baby at any given moment, because for whatever reason this family is extremely fertile and they are bound and determined to drive me out of my freaking mind. So there's that. The next family that we have member that we need to go see is in Strangerville, and I like the build that you feel for living that girl. I like your build that you feel for living that girl. Yep. The next one is Judd. Judd, actually, I put in the old quarters, like the war quarters. And here's the deal. The reason that I did that was because Judd wants to join the military when he's old enough. And the reason that he wants to join the military when he's old enough is because he grew up with a mom who constantly was talking to him about the war. Now, you'll remember that his dad had a sickness, and his dad was also in the military, and that's how his dad obtained this sickness. And his dad was bound and determined to fight in the war. And because of his dad always wanting to be in the war, and even so much so when the World War I happened and they were all being called in to go fight, his dad was like, I'm gonna go. And he was so weak from his disease that he had that he ended up dying before he could actually go serve in World War I. And so Judd here has this really sick fascination with the military now. And he wants to be in the military once he's old enough to join the military, which is kind of funny being that we're about to go into the Depression and there's another war that will be coming upon us soon. But he wanted to live in this military quarters. So as soon as he was old enough to move out on his own, that's exactly where he came. So he lives in the old captain's quarters here on the military base. So that's where he's moved into. And as soon as he gets a chance, he is going to actually be going and joining the military. He is currently in high school, and he does work a part-time job as a shelf stalker because he's trying to save up enough money, you know, to take care of himself and things like that. Also, we need to get rid of the fertile traits. I done did that a long time ago. The fertile traits are gone. They are just still procreating because they can. But nobody's still fertile. They're just having babies. And because I can't get them fixed because it's not allowed in this time frame, they're just going to keep having babies until they can't have babies any longer because I can't get them fixed. So, and because they can't use protection because that's against the rules. So, yeah. There's that. And then, what is our next one? Our next person that we want to go and see, we're having so many twins. The fertile trait is off. We're having twins because I'm unlucky. And you jinxed me. I don't know what the answer is. Other than, I don't know what the answer is. But there's no fertile trait on my lot. The next one that we are going to see is Finnegan. And Finnegan is up here in the corner. I think I went to the right one. In 1932, Judd would be 21. Yep. So Finnegan lives here in the corner lot. He, again, is in high school. His parents gave him enough money to be able to afford to move in here. Granted, it's, you know, just enough of a house to have himself a little family. I didn't build the nursery because I was like, I don't actually know if he's going to find someone and have a baby. So I just built the master bedroom for him. But he is living here. I will get him all ready for 1932 as well. I'm assuming all of the teens will probably be 21. I think the O'Hara one had it. No, I took it off when Liam took over the house. I took it off because I didn't want them having a million babies. But then they started having a million babies anyway. So there's that. So Finnegan is going to be living here, and hopefully he will be able to find himself a nice lady that he can marry and have a family with, and hopefully they won't have a zillion children, but if they do, then I suppose they do. But as we know, with it being the Great Depression coming up, everyone will have to lose their funds, everyone will have to lose their jobs and their schooling, and they will have to live off the land. Thankfully for Finnegan, he already has some planters here, and a flower arranging table and a woodworking table, so hopefully he can get some things done. And look at that beautiful lawn he has. So I think he will be able to do just fine with growing some things out here, so long as he doesn't get, you know, possessed by the mother or anything crazy like that. So hopefully, fingers crossed. That, I believe, concludes all of the families. But I just want to make sure that I've shown you guys everybody, aside from obviously our family, but you guys see our family all the time. But is there anybody else that you want to see, or that you haven't seen, or anything that you want to see? Yep, that is all of the families. I've shown you all of the families with exception to our family. Okay, bye, Omar. Have a great day. So I think that is everybody. And honestly, I do think it is going to be a lot of fun moving everyone into their houses. And I think my only question is going to be for the girls that are going to be teens. Do you guys think that they should move on, like, into their own places as well? Or should we leave them with their parents? Because here's my deal. Back then, most of the girls, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but do think we're in the South, like the deep South, okay? Back then, you wouldn't have just moved out on your own as a female. You would have waited until you were hooked up with a gentleman before you would move out. So in my mind, even in the 20s and the 30s, like if you're moving out on your own and you're a female, like if you're moving on your own, like you'd be seen as a rebel. Like you're not just moving out on your own as a woman, unless you're kind of rebellious. So, and especially now with the Great Depression coming upon us, I don't know that they would be able to afford to just kind of go out on their own. So some of them may end up actually needing to move back home with their parents anyway, even maybe some of the men, if they can't afford to live on their own. Thoughts? Yep. I think so. I definitely think that the girls probably would remain with their families unless they're married. But I will do a little bit more research into the 30s and see how the women did before I make any final decisions. But I do think I am probably going to go ahead and end the stream early, just because now that I have realized all of the work that I need to do in this family, I probably need to go ahead and get busy doing that, because I have a lot of families now that I need to get up to standard for our next episode. So I should probably get busy doing that. So I am going to actually go ahead and send you guys over. We will do a raid to a buddy of mine, and then on the next stream, I will see you guys, and that will be on Wednesday. So until then, I will catch you, and I'm going to fly for now. Bye, you guys.